540 ESPN.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see, KYJ, things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Ladies and gentlemen, the war is on again. World Wrestling Entertainment versus Total Nonstop Action. Two different players, one different player, the same night, Monday night. Gentlemen, a lot to talk about as we are live here on the Pro Wrestling Report, Monday, March 8th, 2010. We've got listeners from all over the world joining us at pwrshow.com, at espnmilwaukee.com, and all of our loyal listeners in southeastern Wisconsin on 540 ESPN. Thank you for joining us. We know that you have a lot to say. Our Twitter account has been blowing up ever since both programs went on the air earlier tonight. The chatmosphere is completely packed to the gills, and good conversation there as well. And, again, we are live and ready to take your phone calls as well. The number, as we enter the phone zone in just a few minutes, is locally 276-ESPN or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. Again, that's 1-800-990-ESPN. Damian Nelson here live alongside David Hero, the Cause, and the man they call Meathead. Joining us for Hour 2 is a man featured on Ring of Honor on HDNet tonight. Rashi Brown, the Skull Crusher, will be joining us for his analysis as well. I think we'd be silly if we didn't start talking about the new player in the game. The new player in the game tonight, and this what many are calling the Monday Night Wars, TNA Impact. And I guess overall, let's go ahead and talk about whether or not they did what they should have done, had to do, needed to do, or if they failed on all those fronts. And to keep it fair and balanced, we're going to start with the Cause first.
Fair and
your
balanced.
Overall
fair
thoughts,
and balanced.
Your overall, to keep the overall segment fair and balanced. Kaz, your thoughts on TNA Impact, their second outing against WWE Raw tonight, March 8th, 2010.
TNA did what they needed to do, get their stars out that they've hinted at the last couple of weeks. Hey, people, you got to watch Hulk Hogan. Hey, people, it's going to be Jeff Hardy. Hey, it could be RVD. People tuned in. They did exactly what they needed to do. And, well, it's up to the fans. It's up to you guys for the ratings to see if they got where they wanted to be. But in my opinion, they fulfilled what they needed to get done, and that was bring those stars that they promised. And you had some people that wanted to see Ric Flair get in the ring, juice it up, and he did.
And we're going to talk about the shows overall. We're going to talk segment by segment, what happened on TNA Impact and what happened on Raw. But, gentlemen, let's get everyone else's opinion on overall how TNA Impact did. And we'll go, again, keeping it fair and balanced, to David Hero.
You know what? I thought TNA did a decent job. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I was hoping for a little more wrestling out of the X Division. They got a 7-minute match, which was, fairly solid. But not a big fan of how they did some other things. Wasn't a big fan of the RVD segment with Sting. Just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
All right, and as I said, we'll talk in detail about the show later on. Meathead, your thoughts. TNA Impact steps up to WWE tonight. Did they actually step up?
I know he will start.
All right, the real Meathead talking now. Again, we're going to go in depth a little bit later in the program, but overall, I definitely, and I teased it on Twitter. Obviously, we asked, which one would you be watching? Most would say TNA first, DVRing, Raw next. Yeah, you got to understand. I had TNA on my mind all day long, and I went ahead and I paid attention to TNA. WWE seemed to be the same thing over and over. There was a lot of high spots. There was some not so high spots.
I would have to say that TNA did a great job tonight. The show flowed. They had a lot of things worth talking about, which we'll get into later on. It was what it needed to be, I think, tonight going up against Raw. the battle's not the number that we'll get tomorrow as far as what each show did for the ratings. Clearly, TNA is going to lose that. However, I think overall, based on the feedback we've seen so far and based off the shows that we watched simultaneously, TNA was the clear winner tonight.
Was it a winner because it had something new and something fresh and guys you haven't seen in a while?
It was a winner chicken dinner is what it was.
I think it was new for all those reasons, Dave. I think it had a lot of freshness to it. It had a lot of excitement to it. It wasn't the same old that we've been forced to deal with in WWE for the last several weeks, months, years, but been satisfied with.
So if Raw would have brought back RVD, what would have happened then?
I don't think it would have had as much impact.
Pun intended.
I really don't think it would have had as much impact because he's been there, he's done that.
And he sold a bunch of T-shirts.
Absolutely.
He sold the T-shirt. But the impact, pun intended, would have been the fact that everyone had an idea. Everyone thought that the possibility of RVD showing up, especially after the Hogan radio interview over the weekend, RVD showing up on TNA was supposed to be a lock. It was supposed to be a guarantee, especially with Taz. He mentioned it in his show. But if RVD would have showed up on WWE Raw tonight, that would have been a huge shot. That would have sent waves. That would have pretty much.
You think RVD's that big of a star?
No, I think them taking that star that was supposed to be on their show and pulling him right back over to WWE would have been a huge shot.
It's interesting that you mentioned, Damian, fresh, and here you see Hogan against Flair.
And
right.
Sting.
And I see where you're going. It's fresh, kind of, but for the wrestling fan that has watched wrestling the last 20 years or longer, I'm sorry, man, that's not fresh.
It was a nostalgia pop tonight.
It was a nostalgia pop, and there's nothing wrong with that because there were some people that wanted to see that, hey, one more time.
Are you hot?
Hogan worked his tail off tonight.
Oh, he did.
Hogan over-delivered tonight. I'm not saying it was a great match, but Hogan over-delivered
for
tonight.
everybody in the back in TNA.
Like I said to start off the show, they did what they needed to do, which was the fan. They pointed out to the fans they might be on. They're going to be on. They did a great job doing that.
To the point of your nostalgia factor, I would venture to say that that wasn't the only thing because Rashi Brown, as you said when you got here, a viewer who may not have been as familiar with Hulk Hogan was enjoying what he was seeing on Impact.
Yes, and this viewer is a 4-year-old kid. I was watching the show, and I wanted to flip to Raw, and he said, Dad, don't change that. I like that guy. I want to see him get back up. And I said, who are you talking about? Him, right there. And he was pointing at Hogan. This is a kid that knows nothing about wrestling. He would not let me even watch Raw. It's crazy. I mean, he still has something to draw people in, and 4-year-olds don't want me to turn the TV.
And as a professional wrestler, as we said, featured on Ring of Honor and HDNet tonight, what does that mean? Because clearly there was a connection there between the 4-year-old and Hulk Hogan on TNA Impact. What was TNA doing to make that connection? Why would he have cared about Hogan getting back up?
I don't understand that.
Did they build intrigue? Did they build a story?
It started, I think it was from Hogan's promo. I mean, it wasn't a great promo, but it drew in the attention of my son to listen to him. He won't listen to me, but he listened to him for 2 minutes before the match started, and I think that's what made him like him. He had no other reason to like him. I mean, he really doesn't know good versus evil, but he clearly saw that. So it's the charisma. He still has it. I'm sorry.
We were watching with several casual wrestling fans here at a local establishment in Milwaukee. And those casual wrestling fans said several things that were key tonight, I think. Firstly, man, I feel like I'm watching Nitro. But it wasn't. It was said in a "this is cool" way, not in a "I don't want to see this again" way.
And then is that Razor Ramon?
Talking about Cass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cass does look a lot like Razor. Guys, we're going to enter the PWR phone zone in just a few minutes here. We want to hear what you all have to say before we break down segment by segment Raw and Impact. The number 276-3776 or all over the world 1-800-990-3776. Again, Hogan. It's difficult to potentially see how smart he is because what's he been doing for the last several weeks, if not months, talking about how he can barely walk, how he can't wrestle again, won't wrestle again. He got in that ring and he delivered tonight.
Are you saying that he worked us?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he built intrigue. He built intrigue for his potential future return to the ring, which he delivered on tonight.
And what he did is he showed all the boys in the back that are far healthier than him that, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to bust my hump for you guys and show you how to get it done.
And over on the other side of the coin, WWE Raw, Vince McMahon doing the same thing as he's done for years and has had that reputation.
Vinnie Mac and Hulk Hogan headlining the Monday Night Wars all over again.
It was a wild night. It was a wild, wild night. And some of the comments that we're seeing in the chatmosphere at PWRshow.com, everybody's talking about TNA. And, you know, WWE certainly didn't fail tonight, I don't think. But did they do enough is the question we're going to have to answer before the end of the night here. Did they do enough to combat what was a threat, whether they want to admit it or not? Did they do enough to keep the fans that they are so comfortable with already?
I don't think so. I honestly think they made their cake with the ingredients they had, but it wasn't that special cake that TNA was making today.
Missing some frosting.
I mean, honestly,
what kind of cake were you hoping for, man?
Oh man,
German chocolate.
German chocolate.
Yeah,
with chocolate fudge.
I
brother.
hate chocolate, but German
and
chocolate
you know
cake
what
is.
It was? Man. It was milk chocolate. It was just a little bit bland.
Here is the one
Did it have the peanuts on top of it too?
German chocolate doesn't have peanuts.
The one thing that proves to me that WWE was completely aware of what was going on TNA Impact. They knew Jeff Hardy would be showing up tonight. That was clear. Everybody knew. When Raw went off the air, we all watched it happen. Batista stood tall over John Cena. The bug went down at the bottom of the screen, the copyright information for Raw. That is typically what happens before it goes off the air. It stays there for about as long as it normally does, but it goes away, comes back as the WWE emblem. And we get a few more seconds of Batista just standing there. They were trying to keep the audience and not have them switch over to TNA, which went about 2 minutes longer than Raw and ended as hot as any TNA show has ever ended. They blew that out of the water, the end of the shows. If you want to compare just the last few minutes of the shows, Raw to Impact, Impact blew Raw out of the water.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. They did blow. WWE did blow it at the end. What you're going to see TNA do here the next couple of weeks, these ratings are going to be very good, especially for the overrun. Mm-hmm. And they will promote that as they should. We've gained, 500,000 viewers, whatever that number is going to be. And they're going to push that and push that and push that and push that.
They're going to push it to the point where they say, don't leave us. Something could happen.
Something could happen. But now what will be interesting is, will we see Hogan every week in the ring? Obviously, he won't be able to do that. But he's going to have some capacity each week where he's going to have to be on the air if that's the audience they want to keep. So it's, again, it's up to you out there.
One of the key things Ms. Bach taught me in journalism class in high school was that a special effect is no longer a special effect if you use it too much. Hogan shouldn't get back in the ring for probably another year. We are going to, again, dissect the show completely. When we come back from this timeout, we're also going to enter the phone zone and give you all the chance to talk about Raw and Impact and your thoughts on what was good and or bad about each of the programs. Those numbers, 276-ESPN, or all over the world, 1-800-990-ESPN. The conversation continues in the chatmosphere at PWRshow.com, and this is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome to the biggest Monday night in the history of professional wrestling. We're live from Panama City Beach, Florida. This is WCW Monday Nitro.
Fail.
And here's Larry Zapisco.
I'm going to take a nap.
Fail.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. Damian Nelson sitting alongside the man they call Meathead, the Skull Crusher, Rashi Brown, the Kaz, and David Hero. Hero, you are tuned in tonight. Hero has turned over a new leaf. He's got his little laptop in front of him.
I'm
got his little
attention.
moose in his hair.
Yeah. I almost did it.
Looks like the honky tonk man.
Oh, it's
Wow.
And
a long sideburn.
Yeah, there you go.
We're live Monday, March
Wearing his
8th.
own personal T-shirt while while he's doing a commentary
Hey,
spot.
man. I'm going old school tonight.
We're live Monday, March 8th, coming to you from the beautiful downtown studios of 540 ESPN in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Gentlemen, the war is on. I don't care if people don't think it is. Tonight, I think both shows proved it is indeed a war between them. And Rashi Brown, the Skull Crusher from Ring of Honor Wrestling, you had a very dynamic point to make about what WWE may be neglecting and what may be their ultimate downfall.
Yeah, if you're listening, you better quit ignoring your live audience. TNA probably had 1/5 of the crowd of WWE tonight, but they had 3 times the noise and the excitement.
There was atmosphere. There was energy.
There was I turned it to the Undertaker Shawn Michaels interview, and it was just like, I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. And no, you're not. I'm going to beat you. On the other side, you had the fans screaming, and everybody's pumping, and they're chanting TNA, and they're ready to go. What do I want to watch? You decide. I mean, honestly, don't insult me. I'm going to watch there's a fever, there's something there, or you know what I'm going to watch.
You know, I don't think it's really arrogant. I just think that's just what they're used to. You know, as far as Raw, they know that their fans are going to watch no matter what's on. And you put Shawn Michaels and Undertaker to start the show, and people are going to tune in and watch.
But will they? Will they? I think that is arrogance right there. What you just said, that is arrogance shown by WWE. Because will those fans stay their fans?
Watch the quarter-hour ratings.
When they come out fully clothed, you know a match isn't going to happen. Hogan came out to fight.
On Impact tonight.
Well, I don't.
And they had 2 matches with guys fully
clothed.
clothed.
I don't care. Hogan came out to fight when the show started, and he did the right thing by let's do it now. And that was going on when The Undertaker fully clothed and Shawn Michaels fully clothed are having a monotone conversation on the other channel.
That first match lasted 2 minutes.
It does not matter.
Yes,
You did not turn the channel to see what was going on the other side. They go by quarter hours in the ratings, brother. 2 minutes is 2 minutes.
Let's go to the phone zone and hear what the fans all over the world have to say about tonight's Monday Night Wrestling Wars. It's the beginning of a new era in professional wrestling. And let's first go down to Gurnee, Illinois. Dan, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
What's going on, gentlemen? I actually enjoyed TNA.
Really?
All right.
Better programming. All WWE was doing was promoting WrestleMania and showing their videos or doing whatever they were doing. TNA was all about action tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot of recap videos on Raw this evening.
Favorite part of Impact, Dan?
Sting turning on both Abyss and Hogan. That was awesome. My wife actually called, when the lights went out, oh, here comes Sting. So I went in the other room. We had both Raw in one room and TNA on, and with the big screen running back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, Sting. And I thought he was going to save Hogan and Abyss. And when he swung, I did holy you-know-what, and that totally shocked me. So the beginning was fun. I enjoyed the beginning.
Dan from Gurnee, Illinois, thank you very much for that call. And Dan brings up an interesting aspect of something that happened on Impact, and that was Sting turning on Hulk Hogan and Abyss. Sting comes out. It was somewhat obvious, I think, but Sting attacking both with the baseball bat, setting up the match to occur again later that evening, and getting a piece of TNA involved that I think should have been involved in some way, shape, or form for a long time, and that being Dixie Carter.
Oh, no.
Here's why. Here's the reason.
Go ahead.
Dixie Carter, she's the pretty girl. She's the figurehead. She's the one who's running the company. Think of how heinous it would be if somebody got in her face, shoved her around, kicked her tail. And Sting did. Sting did shove her around a little bit. I thought that was great, but I wanted to see somebody attack Dixie. Not because I'm morbid and sick about it, because I think that will set the tone for just a lot of intrigue. Oh, my God, Dixie got beat up. Oh, my God. I like where they're going with it.
I don't know about that, Damon. Here's what now there was some gratuitous Dixie shots, and I don't mean in that way, boys and girls. But there were some gratuitous Dixie shots to start off the show. You know what? She obviously was just beaming at, this night, March 8th, 2010. She's got her company going live on Monday night, head-to-head with the big boys. She's beaming, excited, happy. But then in the back room, she has the female cojones to go up to Sting. Sting is a professional athlete. Where does she come off? I mean, if we're supposed to buy into this whole thing, where does she come off going up to a wrestler like that? Not only just any wrestler.
How many times
going up
has
to
Stephanie McMahon gone?
Stephanie McMahon is on roids.
Well, I was going to say the same thing.
Parts of her, maybe.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
We even saw it didn't get any more shocking than when we saw Kane take out Linda McMahon. That one Raw, I think it was.
But Linda shouldn't have been on TV either.
Well, when you got some scratch in the game, you're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, what Sting did to Dixie is as much as needs to be done to her ever, because if you assault her and she's on TV crying next week, it's so not real.
With a neck brace, right?
No, that's corny. No.
In a wheelchair.
What Sting did was really real. You saw he like kind of grabbed for her throat and he's like, oh no, and then he just like shoved her. That was shocking, and you heard those fans when he reached for her. They were like, oh.
Yep.
And that solidified him as a heel right there.
That's all you need to do.
He didn't need to power bomb her or choke slam her. That was perfect.
Let's go back to the phone lines, and this is pretty amazing, and we think, let's just go to it. Let's go now back to line one. We're going to go to Yuma from Japan, who wants to talk about the X Division. Yuma, you're live.
Hi, guys.
Hey, what's up, Yuma?
I'm listening from Japan, you guys.
Wow, what time is it over there?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours.
Yuma, thanks for calling. We certainly appreciate that from all the way halfway around the world. What do you have to say about the X Division tonight?
Yeah, I thought TNA was very good because we have real wrestling on Monday Night Raw. Monday night. X Division was so pretty amazing.
And here's the good thing they did tonight, Yuma. Thank you very much for calling from Japan. I know it's a long-distance call for you and obviously very expensive, and thank you for that. We appreciate it. But here's what they did tonight with the X Division. They reestablished the X Division.
With Kaz.
But they gave
with
time
Razor.
to the X Division. You talked, David, earlier about how the match was only 7 minutes. That segment was probably about 15 minutes. Eric Bischoff putting over the X Division, Daniels coming out, Kaz coming out, Doug Williams coming out.
And then Shannon Moore
I think they did what they needed to do.
Don't forget about Shannon Moore
exactly,
at the end.
Did what they needed to do to provide that focus on the X Division, because that's one of the criticisms TNA has had, is they have not had that focus on the X Division.
Right.
Also, Beer Money Wrestling tonight. They fixed a lot of the mistakes that they may have made on January 4th.
The thing they did with the X Division was the greatest 10 minutes of getting across a whole angle to a new audience I've ever seen. They told the entire story of everything about the X Division, so if you've never seen it before, you knew right before that match started. It was perfect.
Exactly. It's their future. That is your future for the next 5 to 7 years if all those guys stay healthy and everything works out.
And you've got
to push those guys, and I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, it was established perfectly. Hero?
I'm a Kaz fan.
You're a Cal fan?
I'm a Daniels fan. I thought those two guys had a great match. I think that they both kind of got screwed in the end with Shannon Moore.
Yeah.
Those guys go out there and they bust their tail. They get 7 to 10 minutes in, and then all of a sudden Jeff Hardy Light comes running out here, and they put him in the title match.
And that's an
the wrong
excellent point.
because he's not that light.
That's an excellent point from your standpoint, but from the fans' standpoint, David.
You give Kaz 3 or 4 minute promo to get himself over. He's been off TV really for the past 2 years, and they give him time to invest into him, and then in the end, they bring in Shannon Moore, and he gets the title shot.
Let's go to line 2. Ryan in Louisville. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
TNA, let's see. First of all, it felt like I was 11 or 12 again, which was really nice tonight. Said I wasn't staying up past my bedtime.
It was a special time back then?
Yeah, well, I was young and, with WCW and all that. And but I felt TNA did the better show because it was new and exciting. And
kind of like Hero said, huh? He was right on that one.
Well, it was a lot of you are
always right.
Right, because WWE's just doing, the WrestleMania thing. They're just going, same old, not same old, but like just by the book. And it was nice how TNA it's like they finally got all their wrestlers on their show for once.
That they did, Ryan, and I think one point that needs to be made.
No, they didn't get all their wrestlers on the show.
Well,
They did. They got a lot more than they did on January 4th. A lot more talents that were native to TNA, rather. Yeah, the Nasty Boys weren't even on today.
That's why it was an amazing show.
Thanks for the call, Ryan. But here's the point. We've had several people now say, whether it be in the chatmosphere on Twitter or on the phone calls, that WWE's just doing the WrestleMania thing. They're just hyping up WrestleMania.
In WrestleMania cruise
That's
control.
the biggest show of the year.
Absolutely.
That's what they should be doing.
For the listeners out there, watch a show that they. Let me defend WWE here. Their biggest show is coming up in
defending WWE.
Their biggest show is in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Of course they're going to promote their biggest show. What else are they going to do?
They're not going to change any angles going in right now. There's no reason to.
Frank, have you ever played Tiddlywink?
I don't know.
It's an amazing game.
First thing that came out of my mind.
And I'm not faulting the people who have said this or think it, but it is a point that needs to be made. WWE, they shouldn't be doing anything but promoting WrestleMania right now.
Absolutely. That's their biggest show.
Let's go to Leon in Orlando. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report. Leon on line 3, thanks for calling. You're live. Let's go to Glenn in Orlando on line 1. Glenn, you're live.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Glenn, what did you think tonight?
Well, I became a wrestling fan around WrestleMania 17, so I didn't get the first Monday Night Raw. So tonight was really cool to actually see it. TNA won, in my opinion. RVD and Jeff Hardy needed to have a better returning debut. The promo of the night was Sting going heel. And do you think it was a good idea for Taz to ask Mike Tenay what he did at 420 to hint RVD without saying his name?
Thank you for the call, Glenn in Orlando. I think that, when Taz did that, there was good and bad to it. The good was it's like, wait, RVD really is coming. Or
and
for people who hadn't read.
And tweeted their friends,
exactly.
RVD is going to be on next.
And people who didn't know and may not have read then known that information had gotten out because it's relatively new confirmed information over the last few days. I was like, wait a minute, 420, RVD. Oh, my God, this is cool. It's like when Tony Schiavone said Mick Foley was going to win the championship later that night on
Mick
Raw.
Mick Foley, man who participated here as Cactus Jack.
Everybody tuned over. So thank you for that call, Glenn in Orlando, and some good points made about the Raw versus Impact tonight live on TV. Let's go out to New Jersey. Rob, you're live.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? How
Rob.
are you doing?
Good. What'd you think of tonight's TV product?
Oh, my God. The wrestling world, once again, is on fire. Okay? It's been like this it's been a little bit stale, in my opinion, only for a couple of years, but right now the war is back, the war is here to stay, and only one's going to be left standing within maybe the next 10, 20 years. And whichever one it is, I know the wrestling fans are going to be happy in knowing that either the old is going to stay or the young line is going to prevail. But I also want to let you gentlemen know that I'm also going to be going to the Raw live show over at the Izone Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
All right.
And I was wondering if it was okay with you because since that I'm going, I got some good seats, hopefully, and that I can do a bit of a review for you on how it was, the dark matches.
Yeah, just feel free to send us an email. Hop on over to pwrshow.com. Thanks for that call, Rob. Hop on over to pwrshow.com. Send us an email. Many people have done that from shows all over the country. We'll get it posted at pwrshow.com. The phone zone will continue. We've got Gilberto in Florida, Jay on the north side waiting. You, too, can be a part by calling 276-3776 or all over the world, 1-800-990-3776. We got some comments from the Twitmosphere, the Chatmosphere, and more. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. We're live Monday night, March 8th, 2010. And you know what, guys, I got to say, and as the last caller said, and callers have been the theme tonight, basically, feeling like a kid again. It was exciting watching both programs at once. And as we heard that NWO music, Dave Hero, you made a point when on Impact and on Raw, we had a certain click sharing both channels at the same time, minus one person. Shawn Michaels.
Well, he opened the show for the other guy. Yeah. But at the same time, you had Triple H, and then you had Nash Holland, as Kevin Nash calls him, X-Pac.
No, as Kevin Nash called him once, X-Pac.
Oh, he called him X-Pac, though.
How great is this business 10 years, 12 years later,
Still the
ups
same guys
and
running.
downs and trials and tribulations, and these dudes are all making money again. That's why I love this business. There's still chance for me.
A couple of comments from our Twitter account. You can follow us on Twitter, pwrshow.com Twitter.com/PWR show. Just coming across the wires. Why does one show have to win the war, quote unquote? Can't they just both stay in business and make wrestling fun for all of us? To that point, I'll say this.
That's a great point.
And it's an excellent point, and that's what I want. That's what we all want, is for wrestling to overall get better, and hopefully we'll get to that point. Let's go to Gilberto in Florida on line 1. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Tremendous.
There you go.
You know, speaking about the click, you know, the only thing missing from Impact and Raw was Justin Incredible.
Hey,
He was a member of the click, but there was nothing incredible.
What'd you think? Which show did you watch, and what did you like?
Well, going into it, I said, okay, I probably know what Raw's going to do, so I'm going to definitely watch Impact. And, you know, I flipped the Raw for a little bit, saw The Undertaker come out, said, okay, they're hot-shotting the show to start it off. Went over to Impact, of course, Hogan and Flair were wrestling. And, you know, I thought TNA did a great job. You know, it didn't feel as hot-shotted as it was on January 4th, but it was good because they had their own stars shining in the match. I mean, if you look really comparing, you know, am I going to watch The Miz, even though I like The Miz, and Big Show cut a promo about how good they are, how weak the tag team division is, or am I going to watch Daniels, Kaz, and Doug Williams put on a great match?
It's a great question, Gilberto from Florida. Thank you for calling in. Got a bunch of callers to get to, and to those points you made, that's the difference is now that switch factor, that flip factor, is as soon as you lose interest in one or the other programs, you're going to see what's going on the other. And commercial time was rarely shared tonight. Both shows were on. One show was typically on during the evening, so there was a chance at just about every point to turn over and see what was happening on the other side. Let's go to Jay on the north side on line 3.
Hey, guy, what's up?
What's up, Jay?
Hey, just first things first, it's good to know that the #1 wrestling show in the world is right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
All right. And you make it that way. Thank you very much for tuning in, Jay.
All right, and then my other point is TNA basically kicks WWE, but I turned over to WWE for 1 second. It seemed like I was watching Barney and Friends for like a minute.
Barney and Friends.
No, the thing I don't get is that they're pulling Stone Cold out of their back pocket for next week's Raw for the guest host. And with him being on the PG show, I don't know how that's going to work. It's not like he can give the middle fingers or say, hell yeah. It's going to be like a heck yeah.
There'll be lots of what?
Huh?
There'll be a lot of what?
There'll be a lot of, I don't know.
Jay, thank you for calling in. We're just out of time. Feel free to call back later on if you have more to say. And the phone zone will continue as we talk about the renewal of the Monday Night Wars, WWE Raw versus TNA Impact. We're going to have much more to discuss when we come back. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see it, KYJ. Things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. We're live Monday, March 8th, 2010, the night the wars resumed in professional wrestling, and the night that we all, as wrestling fans, continue to be winners. Damian Nelson sitting with the Skull Crusher, Rashi Brown.
Yeah.
David Octavius Hero, and the man they call Meathead.
Meathead? I thought his name was Retweethead.
Wait a minute, Dave. Your initials are Doe?
Doe, yeah,
Doe!
yeah.
As in Homer?
Doe!
Or is it money?
Money.
Doe! Right.
Absolutely.
The conversation has
was funny.
Conversation has been very, very good reading, and the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com. And we've actually gotten some emails on tonight's show, and the phone zone is still open.
You
if you want to call us and be a part of the show?
Huge hot news.
What's that?
Friday night.
Friday night. Yeah.
Friday night.
I was waiting for you to bring it up. I don't know if that's what you were working on.
Well, no, Friday night, Bar Louie on Water Street.
Yes.
The Iron Sheik.
Cheeky baby.
Cheeky baby. Is going to be the celebrity guest host for the Polar Bear Bikini Contest.
Oh, no.
Starting at 9 p.m. But what's even more amazing is the text I got about an hour ago. There's another celebrity guest judge for that.
Who?
Damian Nelson, everybody.
Wait a that's
second.
like a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Damian Nelson and the Iron Sheik.
Oh, it's going to be a party.
Celebrity guest judges.
They better have a lot of Jack Daniels there that night.
You politics for that, didn't you?
Actually, I it all just sort of worked out.
They turned me, they turned me down. But okay,
well, I met their needs, so.
What?
That's what I'm so confused right now.
Now it's clear. We know how you got the gig. We know how he got the gig.
Let's go to the phone zone. That's this Friday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Bar Louie. We're going to be down there with the Iron Sheik. And Sheik's always fun.
Cheeky baby.
Let's go back to the phone zone, and I believe next we have Bowman from Boston, one of our favorite callers here on the Pro Wrestling Report. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Bowman.
What's going on? I'd have to say, I did enjoy watching both WWE and TNA. It was nice to go back to the 90s again and kind of flip back and forth between the two. I definitely, I want fans to, some people out there to realize you might be hoping for this wrestling war and for one to survive, but you better be careful what you wish for, because we already saw what happened the first time that happened.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the greatest thing. I really would just like both to be around so that overall wrestling just gets to be a better product.
It was a wild 6 years from 1995 to 2001. 2001 being the year WCW was purchased by WWE as it went out of business.
As you stated.
Remember that, Meathead?
I'm sorry, what? Who? What?
Remember that?
I lost a few years in there.
I did want to mention one thing about TNA. Maybe I might be the only one with maybe somewhat of a negative comment, but just a critique on it. I kind of felt they showed too much. They almost played all their cards instead of playing maybe just a few cards and allowing those cards to stack against each other so you can build an audience. I didn't really find a reason tonight to want to tune in again the next week. I don't know what surprise they're going to have next week, but I feel like if they didn't show all their cards, I'd feel that they'd be a bigger surprise the following week.
I'd have to respectfully disagree with you. It isn't like they played out every angle tonight. Nothing's finished anywhere.
Sting hasn't answered any questions.
We kind of don't know what you're talking about.
Because if you look at the angle between Ken Anderson and Kurt Angle, where he already got beat up by the military, why do I want to see those two fight again now?
But here's the thing about that, and I think the point Rashi was getting ready to make. Thanks for the call, Bowman. They have been doing a slow build with a lot of things in TNA, specifically the Kurt Angle, Mr. Anderson thing. You may not think of a slow by looking at it and looking at the fact that they've had matches and whatnot, but it's a story that's been building over several weeks. And what TNA did tonight that really struck me as different from what they've ever done is they've learned how to stay with things and let it sink in. Look at how long they stayed with the beatdown at the beginning of the program with Hogan and Abyss and Styles and Flair and Sting. They stayed with it. They let it sink in. They let the importance of it get proven by sticking with it as opposed to jumping backstage, jumping to commercial, jumping to the next segment, jumping to something else. They've learned that critical piece of TV that WWE does perfectly.
To that point, it was well done for the opening segment when you had the Hogan, Flair, Abyss, AJ Styles. When they did it again at the top of the hour, or at the top of the program, with the RVD beatdown, that was terrible television. It just felt like it dragged on and on and on. Sting, is standing there and, he's staring down the ramp, looks back, RVD's starting to move, and he beats on RVD again. RVD RVD got beat down 6 or 7 different times. Every time he got up, he kept beating him down. There was no rhyme or reason to any of that.
It kept RVD on TV through the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
Looking weak.
It kept him on TV.
He didn't look weak. He kept getting it from the bat shot every time.
Still, if he laid there for 6 minutes from one bat shot, now he looks weak.
That's why the 6 minutes was bad. I thought they did a great job on the first one, bad job on the second.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. The show was not absolutely perfect by no means. So
I'm still overall
is
happy.
good. I mean, yeah, exactly. So
Mickie James did. I'm sorry. Alicia Fox did wrestle tonight, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you said absolutely perfect. That reminded me. Let's go to Jason in Tennessee.
That's my guy.
Jason, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
I'm feeling like a WWE mark a little bit, but I had to roll with the guys up north tonight. There was just so much stuff that TNA did wrong. The whole RVD thing was completely floundered. It was just painful to watch. I don't really care about Hogan anymore, and 1/3 of TNA time dedicated to him isn't going to change that. Meanwhile, WWE made me care about Sheamus for the first time ever with the Triple H promo, and the Shawn Michaels Taker thing was great as always, and the build to WrestleMania has been good. TNA did some things well, too. WWE did some things bad, but overall I thought WWE was better, and that's all I wanted to say tonight.
Thank you for that call, Jason from Tennessee. And to that point, I'm not sure if WWE actually did do anything bad tonight. They had a great match with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase. They had a 6 Divas tag match, which was good. The Cena Batista thing at the end, the Cena McMahon thing at the end, I thought was good. The Triple H Sheamus thing, setting up that match for WrestleMania, I thought was enjoyable. The HBK Undertaker opening segment was good as well. The challenge that we're hearing from out in the wrestling community, and that we tend to, at least I tend to agree with, is there was nothing fresh about Raw.
It wasn't bad. There was just nothing juicy that made you want to watch, as opposed to watching something that you've never seen before, or you want to see what are they going to do. That's the fundamental difference there.
Jason, thank you very much for that call from Tennessee.
You're going to get in trouble, man.
That's fine.
I'm really sorry.
That's fine.
Just so you know.
That's fine.
I got to take
Is it a done deal?
Yeah, I got to take a step out for a second.
We're going to take the rest of our phone calls as we finish out here in the phone zone, and then who knows what's in store for you all listening all over the world here in the Pro Wrestling Report. In just a few minutes, you're going to be shocked. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Read blogs from your favorite 540 ESPN personalities. Log on to the all-new ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, live Monday, March 8th on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRshow.com. And, you know, you just never know what you're going to get here on the Pro Wrestling Report. There's a reason we were voted the best professional wrestling radio show in the world today. There's a reason we had a caller from all the way halfway around the world from Japan earlier tonight. Because right now, for all of our listeners all over the world, Ken Anderson joins us live here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Ken, hot off the heels of that live Impact tonight from Orlando, Florida, what's the atmosphere like? What was the feeling like being live up against WWE Raw from Orlando, Florida?
You know, there was a part in the night where I was sitting in one of the locker rooms, and there was a big screen TV in there. It was Mick Foley and a bunch of guys, and we all kind of looked at each other and said, "Man, this feels different." I forget who was in that. I think the X Division guys were in the ring, Daniels and Kazarian and help me out here.
Shannon Moore.
Hardy.
We got it.
They were in the ring, and just the segment right before that, getting into that segment, I don't know. I felt like there was a different atmosphere inside the Impact Zone. I mean, you should have heard the fans outside all day long. They were chanting for about 3 or 4 hours straight, and I think everybody was at the top of their game tonight.
Ken, how did it feel for you? Recently into TNA wrestling in that huge, very intriguing storyline with Kurt Angle, going up against WWE.
You know, honestly, it didn't feel any different as far as that goes. I mean, yeah, you know that you're doing it, but, you know, we're just trying to offer a good product. We're trying to offer something a little different. We're trying to be as entertaining as we possibly can be. And, you know, we weren't really worried about what they were doing. Or, you know, we just wanted to put out the best show possible.
Well, and you probably haven't heard this yet, but I think it's clear they were worried about what you all were doing because they had a little mix-up at the end of the show. The show went off the air and then came back on the air, did WWE Raw for a good another 30 seconds or so, right before Jeff Hardy made his reappearance on Impact tonight.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
All they did was they had Batista standing over John Cena for at least a good 2 or 3 minutes to end the show.
With just the spotlight.
And did nothing else but just wait for hoping you.
The copyright thing came on, and it was going off the air. Then all of a sudden, it came right back up, just like they hadn't gone away. And then a few seconds later, they did actually go off the air. It was a clear.
Well, I'm pretty sure I can picture in my head what happened in that truck. Is they probably had our show up on one of the monitors in there, and they were just watching that and going off that. You know, they were definitely watching what we were doing tonight, which was, you know,
why wouldn't
good. Why wouldn't they? Well, I was kind of hoping they wouldn't. I'm kind of hoping that they'll continue to. I'm kind of hoping that they'll just continue to, you know, just.
But you know better, Kenny.
Well,
Kenny, this is Rashi, your favorite black guy.
What up, Rashi?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, hanging in there. I got a good question for you.
Okay.
You being a guy grew up, you know, we grew up in the business together a little bit,
yep.
and we missed that first wave of the Nitro and WWF wars.
Yeah.
Now, you're an established name, but with these new casual fans, you're not as known as, let's say, you should be. But now you're here and you have this platform, and you're with Kurt Angle, your first Angle, no pun intended, in TNA. And
right.
What's going through your head, man?
You know, I said this last week when I interviewed with D'Lo. Honestly, I feel like I'm reborn, man. Kurt Angle is a tremendous talent. He's got so many, you know, he's nowhere near the end of his chain. I hope, anyways. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries, especially to his neck, and you know, I think the guy would have given up a long time ago. But he's got so much passion for the business and such a good mind for the business, and he's also just very giving. You know, I came from a place where guys aren't so giving. You know, they're pretty, you know, they want to keep those spots. They want to hold on to those spots. They don't want some young punk coming in and taking that.
Right.
And he's the kind of guy that comes to work and says, how can we all make money together?
Thanks. That's all you want to hear in this business, right there.
Yeah. You know, and I guess Jim Cornette told me the second day that I was at OVW, he said, if you guys know of somebody out there who could help make you money, help make this company money, and you don't do anything in your power to get them over or get them noticed or get them a look or something, you might as well admit to yourself and the rest of the world that you suck.
Yeah,
because you're worried.
You don't want to make any money.
Because you're worried that they're going to take your spot. Whereas somebody who's confident in their abilities will say, I want to make money with that guy. That guy would be an excellent addition. Just think of all the money that we could make together.
And Kurt Angle has proven the past few weeks with you that he's not afraid to give you whatever you need either.
No.
You guys work really, really well together, and your big pay-per-view match at Destination X, I think it's going to be a pretty hot match.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that we can continue it on, you know, farther.
The feedback that we've gotten tonight, Ken, on the show, the show has been very, very lopsided towards TNA. The fans are just they're loving what they saw on TNA Impact tonight, and we haven't solicited that. That's just what they're bringing to us.
And they also love the Captain America shirt tonight too.
David Harrell marked out huge for that.
It's funny because I checked my Twitter when I got back to the trailer or whatever, and I must have gotten more Captain America tweets than any other kind of messages. Great Captain America. You know what else I got a lot of tweets about? My reference of I used the term international object.
Yeah, because you don't use foreign objects.
Hey, that reminds me, last week's promo where you came out to the ring dressed up as Kurt Angle, that was like, that brought back a DX skit of the nation
The
for
cookie
me.
sheet was my favorite part.
The cookie sheet was tremendous. I mean, what is it like to have that kind of freedom when you're out there now, doing a promo?
I'm pretty sure you guys can probably see it on my face.
Dude.
I'm a completely different person now than I was 6 months ago, a year ago. Dave, I talk to you a lot, man, and how many conversations do we have where I just say, you know what, I think I'm done, man.
Yeah, you were saying that back when you were still, up north. You were sick of it,
People were asking me, people obviously keep out, do you still watch that other show? And I didn't watch that show for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only fired a year ago.
You represent
I gave up.
Well, Ken Anderson, Monday nights are never going to be the same again. TNA Impact up against WWE Raw, and let's not forget TNA Epics. It's going to be an X Division feature show, I believe, next week. Going to be before Impact at 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern on Spike TV.
Hey, Ken, before I forget, I want to thank you again so much for not taking care of business with the Pope, because I am still getting tons of heat about that guy. The Pope from the that tournament thing.
When you predicted that Pope would never main event the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Like that?
2 days before he did. 2 days before he did, yeah.
And I was really hoping that you were going to be there for me, but, thanks, pal.
Hey, I guess I didn't try hard enough that time. If I try really hard, I can win.
Well, Ken, I know you need to get some rest before tomorrow night. You guys are back at the Impact Zone again, taping next week's show. It's going to be up against Raw again. And best of luck to you, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks for giving us a little bit of time on what is obviously a very busy night for you.
Be good, man.
Thanks, Kenny.
Good to hear from you.
Again, you never know what's going to happen here on the Pro Wrestling Report, and let's go to an email that we got from...
wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
See? I blamed him.
No,
it
you're
was
fine.
Ken's fault.
You're fine. You're good. It's
now
all good,
done.
man. It's good. For now.
Can I just say something? Even still, you see Kenny's character on TNA, it's the tip of the iceberg. This dude has so much talent that we know he has that he's never been able to put on canvas on a national stage. This guy is amazing. I mean, what he did with Kurt Angle with the parody, he could do that with probably 30 or 40 people, and he would have you just wetting your pants. He's a star.
And you've worked with him?
Yes. I've kicked his
butt. When we say that, that means wrestle a match.
Up and down with contact.
No,
there we go.
There's Kamikaze Ken Anderson now, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
This comes from Ryan Barnes in Quincy, Illinois, who says this: amazing show by TNA tonight. Unbelievable how they executed the night. Short but meaningful matches. Great job getting Spike to go past 10 o'clock. Great to see RVD and Hardy, and I love the Sting swerve. The only bad thing I can see, next week, TNA will be airing a taped Monday night show. That will just really slow any momentum they had. That from Ryan Barnes in Quincy, Illinois via PWRshow.com. We appreciate Ryan, Anthony, and Ken from Milwaukee who are waiting patiently on the phone lines. We're going to take those calls when we come back. The conversation continues in the chatmosphere at PWRshow.com. This is the award-winning global phenomenon known as the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. What a show we've had so far, and we're going to get to the rest of our callers, and the phone zone will continue. We're going to carry the phone zone through the end of the hour.
This reminds me
of
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
I think he's coming around.
He's coming.
Who that is?
I understand
Great
that,
Lakes
actually.
Championship Wrestling, April 16th and 17th. Rowdy Roddy Piper, special guest.
You jabbing.
You'll be there.
Cool.
Are you in the Piper's Pit?
I'm in somebody's pit.
With Rowdy Roddy?
Ooh, I'd like to.
BlizzardBrawl.com
You're taking
for
a
all the
coconut
hot
shot?
news and information.
You taking the coconut bump?
That's BlizzardBrawl.com
Why?
for all that
Why
information.
does
Rowdy
he have to-
Roddy
why do
Piper.
I have to take
Rowdy
the
Roddy
coconut
Piper.
bump?
That is so racially messed
I
up,
mean,
man.
He doesn't have the hair.
He
But WrestleMania 26. It's the biggest show of the year. WWE's on its way to it in just about 2 weeks. The Pro Wrestling Report's going to be broadcasting live from Baby's Steak and Lemonade, run by Armando Estrada in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to be doing our television shows from Baby's, and you can be a part of it. Several of you have already RSVP'd and are going to be at WrestleMania and coming down to
More than
Baby's.
several.
More than several, yes. Coming down to Baby's.
And we drink vodka lemonade, boys.
To be a part of it Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. We're going to be taping television episodes at Baby Steak and Lemonade. If you RSVP by sending an email to WM26@PWRshow.com, you're going to get a PWR prize at Baby's when you show up.
That's going to be
Nobody is covering WrestleMania like this show is covering WrestleMania for the 4th year in a row.
It's going to be amazing.
Go to PWRshow.com for all the information on
And
that.
all the surprise guests that are going to be popping in.
The names that we have seen on the potential guest list are pretty impressive.
Oh, it's hot and exciting.
I know everybody will want.
Hey, Meat, you're missing
them.
out, brother. I'm sorry, dude.
No, dude, what I'm setting up for in May is way more important. I hate to say it, but it is what it is.
Let's go to
And do what it do.
He gets off probation.
Let's go to a
That's
very
right.
patient Ryan from Illinois who has, I think, what's going to be a very good question. Ryan, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Ryan?
The same Ryan that you just read my email to.
Is it Ryan or
perfect.
Ryan?
How convenient.
Yeah.
You're double dipping, man.
Yeah, just a quick couple questions and comments. First of all, I loved the show tonight. I thought the introduction was just amazing. How they kind of had that whole. I just thought it was so obvious where Hogan was gonna turn, and then sure enough, I'm just glad to see something where I can't predict the outcome. It just seems like so often. I mean, obviously it's scripted, but it just seems so predictable, and I enjoyed the unpredictability tonight. And second of all, I just wanted to say that in reply to a caller a few minutes ago that was saying every angle is played out, I still think they got a ways to go as far as like the Samoa Joe angle. I still think he's going to be in the title hunt before too long, and they haven't really played out that angle of kidnap, and he just got a couple other things like Big Bob Terry, you know.
Have they found the van that kidnapped Samoa Joe yet?
It was a black Hummer, right?
No, that's what the Army came in today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just a big old van.
Well, is the FBI investigating this kidnapping?
Yeah, I have no idea, but the last thing I wanted to say is I really appreciate how you guys get like Anderson and all those other guys, Estrada, and the interviews. That's what makes you guys the best. Thanks again.
Well, Ryan, thank you. It's
you.
actually you, our listeners, that make us the best because you're the best, and I mean that truly.
Whoa, wait a minute.
And
Wait a minute.
It is because
I'm
of us,
the
though,
best.
too.
I'm the best.
I mean, really.
it's fine. You all want to get yourselves over. I'll go ahead and.
Like a sunset flip, baby.
We appreciate the talents wanting to come and spend some time and talk to us on air. You know, we're fans and they're fans too. So
They better
appreciate
recognize as they do.
And Ken Anderson has been a big fan and friend of the show.
Yeah, Ken, big friend.
Let's go to California, out on the West Coast. Anthony, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey there, guys.
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Well, of course, I'm going to be talking about, giving my opinion about the Monday Night Wars.
Okay.
Both shows had they're good and bad, so I can't really say which one was better. But one thing you guys mentioned earlier in the show is that WWE is now really focusing on getting their WrestleMania show, since that's the big show of the year. While TNA just has Destination X, which is somewhat like a throwaway pay-per-view, because they've been focusing on Lockdown more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just had matches like heck today.
Well, but they made a lot of matches tonight on Impact, and thanks for that call, Anthony, out in California. I'm a little confused by the main event, to tell you the truth. Not confused by why it's happening, but I'm not. It's a unique choice, Abyss versus AJ Styles, but that keeps Flair and Hogan involved as well in that matchup, and now potentially even Sting's involved with that, and maybe even Dixie Carter. This is what's good.
Dixie's not going to get involved.
Maybe even
no, I don't
Jimmy
mean
Hart.
physically involved in the match. I mean they're part of the storyline. They're part of this arc, if you will. They're
Right.
part of pieces of that
and
story.
That's what you hit it on the head. There's this big, broad stroke that they painted today. Now they have they can reach off with these tentacles with Dixie and Sting and Hogan and they didn't answer anything. Nobody knows why Sting did what he did. For people to say that they like, I can't use this word. They spent all their money on the first day. They did not. I mean, come on, man.
Like a joke grenade. Did you see the light bulb go on?
Wow.
Yeah, there's so many ways they can go with this.
Out in the Twitmosphere, out on our Twitter account as well, another comment. Funny how 3 weeks of quote-unquote forgetfulness can make it seem TNA Impact has an X division to promote. Another.
I think that's just nitpicking, really.
Another person tweeted, and no one has turned Sting heel well before, but TNA did it well tonight.
Right.
Sting.
Was he really turned heel well tonight?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's never been a heel except for before anybody even knew him. Right.
Right.
So, and for them to get him to do that
Because the main
alone,
event Mafia Sting wasn't a heel.
And finally, Sting's character, his real life, person would never touch a woman.
Right.
And finally, from our Twitter account, the PWR Show Twitter account, if you're not following us, please do so. This last comment, best Impact TNA has ever had. Cool moment seeing Sting and RVD in the same ring. Only disappointment was no RVD follow-up. Let's continue on the phone lines, and let's go to Ken on the south side, line 2. You're live.
Hey, I got you guys in.
Kenny.
Yeah, I think TNA just was a lot better, way better tonight than Raw. I'm 18 and I've been a wrestling fan all my life, and some of those guys over in WWE I've been seeing main events since I was about 13 or 14. And the way I see it is TNA is just more cutting edge, cooler, more hipper. Where WWE is what my little brother chants for. He loves DX, Hornswoggle, and all that stuff.
Right. So he's got glow sticks, is what you're saying.
Yeah. We just came from the last WWE show, and he got the little mask and everything, and it was just great.
So what you're saying is pretty much DX has run the full gamut of their demographic. I mean, they started out with the 20 to 35-year-olds, and it was so cool to be a DX, and now it's little kids.
But
well,
you know
what
kids they are? They're the 20
they're
to 35
kids.
that just have kids. Yeah.
It's not just DX. I think it's WWE overall, because I was at the show and I like being there, but I was kind of bored. I mean, my mom was next to me snapping pictures. It's something that the family can enjoy. But TNA, I'm 18. I want something a bit more like for my age, something where they're gonna swear, something where they're gonna power drive somebody, And that's what I think TNA is doing. I think it was just a great show tonight.
And just like Frank said, too,
thanks for the call, Ken.
Ric Flair, he juiced big time. I mean, that
great.
hair was red.
It wasn't a crimson mask. It was a crimson suit he was wearing.
That was old school 1980s wrestling magazine color.
Yeah, where you can see the whites of the eyes, and that's it.
Flair's thinking, I came back out of retirement for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number.
No, Flair enjoys that. Are you kidding me?
The numbers to join us live on the phone, 276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-3776. The conversation continues in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Vintage Fish. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Gentlemen, I got to say, doing these shows for years, and this one has blown by the fastest of any show we've ever done. I am so damned excited that the Monday Night Wars are back. Just the fact that both programs are on, it just really has reignited, I think, the inner fan.
So you're ecstatic is what you're telling me.
That I am. We're going to WrestleMania in 2 weeks. We had these shows tonight.
And even Rashi's coming along.
Rashi's going to be, you're working their ROH shows.
I will be at Ring of Honor Friday and Saturday night before
WrestleMania.
Steak
Lemonade on Thursday with
Steak and Lemonade,
And this Friday, of course, we'll be with the Iron Sheik and Damian Nelson.
And you better call it down the line.
Right down the middle, baby.
And who's middle? The string middle?
I just found out
one half.
that Playboy model Anita Hart will also be down there with us.
I need a heart, too.
Well, I need a baker.
I got to go to Priceline.com.
Yeah, we got to get. Hey, you know what? Speaking of that, I'm pretty hot about one thing about the whole TNA show.
What's that?
They had RVD, but there was no ODB.
Yeah.
That's a critical failure.
How can you not have the most over, knockout on the company?
Hey,
yeah. Hey, they needed something for
Hey,
Angelina
they need
Love to do.
something for next week. Come on,
okay,
baby.
they have a 3-tag team. No, she's not even down in Orlando right now.
Well, where is she?
She's home.
Well, she should be in Orlando.
I know that.
I was going to wake her up and bring her with me up to
next
the
time
studio
she
tonight.
should go to Orlando.
Whatever.
She was bummed by it.
Here's the thing. You can bring
saying.
out Sarita and Taylor Wilde. You can
Who we
bring
haven't
out
seen forever.
the beautiful people.
Who we see every week.
And then you bring out Victoria and Angela Love. You can't find one other knockout to team up with ODB to have a 4-way tag match?
You could have used that.
Brother, you can't spend all your money on the first day.
We
at
all
the store.
know that the knockouts don't get paid that much.
We've got to
I don't know
continue.
nothing.
We've got to continue on the phone zone, and I believe our next caller is going to be Moses in Queens. Moses, first, thanks for clearing the line earlier so that Ken could call in. And now it's your turn. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Hey,
What's
Moses.
up,
Moses. You can go ahead and tell all your friends that you just put over Ken Anderson.
Hey, you know what? He is the man, and I truly, truly love what he does. Actually, I'm actually calling because I believe what Sting did to what's her name, to Dixie Carter. I bought into him. It wasn't the fact that he jumped RVD or any of the stuff. When he put his hands on Dixie Carter, I bought into it. I was like, wow. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is honestly, Jeff Hardy. I loved it. At the end, they waited those extra 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I believe, to the end of the show, and I think it was smart strategy. Meathead, last time you said that you DVR your shows. I want to know which one you were watching tonight, primarily live.
I already said it, but I'll say it again. It was TNA.
All right. I was
trying to watch Jack Bauer get some on, too, but we had to watch wrestling.
Yeah, I definitely love the show, and like I said, every week, I love what you guys do, and I definitely respect your work. Thank you.
Moses, thank you very much for calling. And Moses, I had the privilege of being out in New York, what was it, last week? Yes. It was a concrete jungle where dreams were made.
You bumped into him?
No, I bumped into Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. They got it and bump into him too
How
hard.
was that pizza? I heard it was pretty delicious.
A little garlicky, but it was good.
Gotcha.
You know, they put the Parmesan right next to the garlic. It's easy to get confused.
So what you're saying is you're not very quick with that.
Oh, no, it took hours for me to realize.
What he's saying is he can't read.
No, they
It's
weren't
his
labeled.
first day.
They weren't. I read the label on the
when
Maker's
it's
Mark.
3 in the morning
That was
in
the
New York,
problem.
you can't read nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't drink, so okay.
Right.
George from Washington State. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, George.
I appreciate everything that you guys do.
Thank you.
Send a check.
And what was that?
Yeah, Rocky said send the check.
Send the check.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I was calling. I thought tonight, Sting, what he did, phenomenal, great. Glad to see he came back the way he did, just like in the old school. Meathead.
Thank you.
WCW. From a way you didn't know if he was a good guy, bad guy back then, but right now you see him as a heel. It's great how he's come back, how they brought him back. And also, I was thinking how they opened up with Raw, HBK and Undertaker. That was pretty good how HBK cut him off and then came and cut him off a couple times and walked away. Undertaker looked pretty PO'd,
yeah.
You know. And besides that, what I saw with
George, which show did you think was better? Because clearly you watched most of both.
yeah, I was on I had actually 2 TVs and I was watching both.
You're one of those guys.
Which one was better?
Are you
in
a
your
cable
opinion?
subscriber, and are you buying both of those boxes?
Which one did you enjoy more, George?
I don't think you know.
WWE.
All right, George from Washington, thank you for calling in. He picked Raw, and as we said earlier, there was nothing wrong with Raw tonight. I want to make that point. If Impact hadn't been on against Raw, Gail Kim did finally get a win, yes.
Who's that, Gail Kim?
Oh.
You wouldn't know her.
George from Washington, thanks for that call. Raw was strong tonight. Again, don't get us wrong. I like the fact that they finally wrapped up this Sheamus Triple H thing. I don't know what they're going to do with Orton, though. DiBiase got the pin on Orton. I thought Cody would do it.
Kofi.
Yeah, Kofi was not involved.
Wait. Yeah, he hasn't had a push in a while, has he?
Next, they're going to be asking the interns to find that point in the tape when you said you had doubts for Kofi being a star.
No, I know where it is in the tape.
Of course you do.
Why wouldn't I?
Richard in Poughkeepsie, New York, and Leon in Florida. We're going to take you when we come back. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Voted the best professional wrestling news program on radio in the world today. Thank you very much for tuning in wherever you are, and thank you to all of you for the very intense and passionate discussion in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com. Got another email, actually, we wanted to read before we went to our last few phone callers for the evening, and this one comes from Joey Holston from Morristown, Tennessee. And he says, I watched Impact more than I did Raw. I enjoyed TNA's opening and Sting turning a bad guy. This is the best Impact I have ever watched, and I have been watching TNA since about the Fox Sports days, and what a long way TNA has come. I really enjoyed the Army beating up Mr. Anderson, because you just don't mess with the Army or anyone in the armed forces. Keep up the good work, guys, and looking forward to Kaz's segment, the Monday Night Wars. Kaz's brand new show, the Monday Night Wars, coming up Monday at pwrshow.com.
You know what's funny, which they haven't really mentioned, is that Kenny was in the military. He was in the Army, wasn't he, Rashi?
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
we
was.
never discussed
We'll get
that,
the fact checkers on that.
I don't think he was in.
You know, I think it's important to make this point.
I think he. I know he worked as a security guard on like one of those
nuclear power plants.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was probably close to the Army.
No, really,
he worked for the
I don't know.
I think it's important to make
Frank
this point.
Grimes?
Lots of calls tonight, lots of viewer and listener interaction. The conversation's been driven by the wrestling community, and that conversation's been clearly driven towards TNA tonight.
Yep, because it's the hot, new, fresh stuff going on right now.
Let's go to Pat in Queens, New York, who wants to talk about tonight, Monday night. Pat, your thoughts on the war?
What's going on, guys? I thought TNA definitely hit a home run today. I felt, even though RVD got a little slighted tonight, I felt like, you know what, you needed to do that to get Sting really over as a heel. And like you guys said earlier, I mean, Sting really hasn't been a heel in a long, long time, and they might have actually successfully been able to turn it. But something I thought that was really interesting, I don't know if you guys got it in your area, but while I was watching the commercials on Raw, there were actually commercials that said, turn to Spike TV right now, TNA Impact, watch Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
We've heard about those. We didn't see them, but we've heard about those, and that's a stroke of brilliance.
It really is. I mean, because I'm watching it just cracking up going, oh, my God, all these people are hearing about Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair wrestling in New York, and they could just flip on Spike TV right now and see it. And I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, I thought that was like some of the smartest advertising I think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Thank you for the call.
When we've talked about that before, obviously WWE does own kind of what's going on as far as advertisements when they're on the USA Network, but they don't own the fact that there's the local ads that are going to be airing in the in the neighborhood. So what they did is they went to the local company, be it the cable company, satellite company, or whatever, and said we want to buy airtime during this program.
Yep. I'm sorry. One thing people aren't registering: RVD beat Sting. He won.
Yeah.
Remember that, people.
Mm-hmm.
For the record books, he
Good point.
won.
Good point.
What they're doing is
In
Pro
record time.
Wrestling 101. Get your heat back.
It was like King Kong Bundy versus SD Jones.
I'm sorry, you new
WrestleMania
wrestling
2.
fans. It's a
No,
thing
one.
that's been
One.
around for 100 years. It's called getting your heat back. Sting played perfect teammate today. He lost to RVD. He
Which
did
no one's
not
talking about.
win. Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm.
We're going to continue the phone lines, but I want to give a shout-out to Chris Gatto, who just RSVP'd for WrestleMania 26, the PWR coverage of WrestleMania 26. We're asking for RSVPs, but don't worry, guys. There will be space made for you. If you want to be there, we're going to make it happen. Make it so, Ensign, as they say on Star Trek.
And
we're
aren't
going
you
to
trying
make
to
it
put
happen.
those guys on air possibly, too?
Everyone's going to have an opportunity to be on air if you're there with us, but the RSVPs,
Whoa, wait
guys,
a minute. They're all signing waivers.
There's
no need to get hot about it, Dave.
The guests who RSVP are going to get the special PWR prizes and obviously the best opportunity to be a part of the program. So thank you very much, and let's continue on the phone lines and go to Richard in Poughkeepsie, New York. Richard, you're live.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
Continuing to do a great show as usual.
Thank you.
All right, just got to say that I watched both shows tonight, back and forth, flipping back and forth. And I have to say, being a true WWE fan, I have to say TNA had the edge but as you guys said earlier, that their WWE is mostly promoting WrestleMania. And I like to make a comment about what Damien said earlier about there wasn't much fresh on WWE tonight. I kind of think they're saving that up for next week when Stone Cold hosts the show.
Can you honestly tell me what can you do fresh with Stone Cold with one guy and 60 other guys, as opposed to 60 fresh guys and one old guy? Tell me what can Steve Austin do next week to capture an audience for 2 hours?
I just think that because tonight was more Hulk Hogan night than Vince McMahon facing John Cena, and I think they were saving more of a better show for next week with Stone Cold, because it is Stone Cold. I know it's not the same Attitude Era Stone Cold, but it's still Stone Cold, and I'm actually looking forward to the contract sign that he's going to be involved with, because I think he's going to up the ante on the match between Bret Hart and...
Let me tell you a secret. A 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, they don't know who Steve Austin is. So next week, their audience isn't going to do.
I disagree with you on that.
I disagree with you on that, too. My son is...
Your 4-year-old didn't know who Hogan was.
He learned tonight.
Here's the thing. Through video games and action figures,
now
Stone Cold is still alive.
Okay, I will say this, but this is to the fan that's already tuned in. You're not a casual viewer. You're not a new customer. I'm talking about the new 8-year-old, the new 10-year-old, not a parent of, you're his father. Of course, he's going to watch wrestling. I'm talking about the casual kid that's just playing with his toys and TV's on.
Right, but you walk into Toys R Us right now, and you will see Stone Cold action figures on the shelves.
Yes, you will.
On clearance. No, the new Mattel line. But here's the thing. Austin isn't going to change much because they've already announced it's WrestleMania Rewind.
Leon in Florida, you're live. We're going to have to take you real quick. What's your question or comment? Leon in Florida.
TNA Impact?
Yes.
Was so off the chain. I just wanted to say that that one segment with Sting versus RVD, the way Sting just beat up everybody, I think it brought so much life back and interest back into that character. And Sting and RVD is like a dream match anyway. So I think that was the best segment.
Thank you for that, Leon, and thank you for your thoughts on Impact. Don't mean to cut you off. So much to talk about. We're going to have a brand new episode of PWR Interactive coming to YouTube soon, and a new episode of Primetime this Friday where we will talk about what's next for TNA. This has been the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.